Thanks a lot here. I'm originally from Southwest Indiana. I live now in West Texas, but growing up in the mid to late 80s, early 90s, y'all would come to Terre Haute, Indiana, and Evansville, Indiana, and I'd see you at the Hallman Center, and I'd see you at Roberts Stadium. And hate to say it, Arn, but I'd boo you. But
nice. That's the ones that's my favorite. When someone like you, a nice, clean-cut young man, says, "You know what? My grandmother hated your guts."
she
I want to
did.
jump out of my chair.
I wanted to ask you because sometimes my questions would come up on the podcast, and I wanted to ask just kind of a follow-up to one on WrestleMania 18. After you Spinebuster the Undertaker, it seems to me that should have ended the whole match, and it would have made a better match. And to quote your podcast buddy there, what say you?
If I would have been an active wrestler and been in a position to give it back to him, which the Undertaker has earned in spades, if we could have got away with one that day, I think it would have been the reason that worked is because I truly believe I was able to, get down there without being seen. It was like I just appeared poof out of nowhere. And that was the appeal for a lot of people. So when I slid in, hit him with a spine buster, rolled out, disappeared out of the side of the referee, if we were going to have Rick win, that's how we would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
And the audience went, "Holy shit, that's it. He's going to win."
That's right.
But without something in the future to give it back to him, I thought it was just fine. He's the Undertaker. Right. He overcomes adversity, and him doing what he did, I thought was fine. It did not dampen the mood for me. Business is business, and you always have to think about what do the fans deserve? What does your story deserve? What does your opponent deserve? It's not about me. So I hope that answers it.
Absolutely. I watched it then, and to hear JR just, you know how JR went. He'd get so excited, and then you couldn't understand what he was saying, and that's Arn Anderson, and then it all happens. It was just like, wow, this is going to happen, just exactly how you just said it out there. So, one other thing I wanted to ask you, you told this story, and I never laughed so hard on a podcast when you told this story. You were, I think it was Cowboy Bill Watts, called you out, and he hit you upside the head. He called you Lars, and I that still cracks me up. Were you ever able to get back at him for that in any way whatsoever? I mean, that was just, what a crazy situation.
Well, being a little bit of the backstage loudmouth / clown that I have been my entire year, I nickname guys, I bust guys' balls all the time. The fact that I had worked for his company was my first real, besides, a few weeks in Pensacola, Florida. That was my first territory. So he started me in the business. He sent me to Atlanta to become an Anderson. He had a pretty good, history with me. So for him to look at a team meeting, we're out at center stage, we're all sitting in the stands, and he's going, "Guys, your kicks have got to get better, and your punches have got to get better." And he looks over and he goes, "Lars, come here, Lars. Get Lars." And everybody's looking around, like, who the hell is Lars? And you Lars. And me? Yes, come here. And I got up and just walked about, 10 paces towards him, and he just went whop right in the head. And he went, "That's how you throw a punch." And he crossed my eyes pretty good, and he goes, "Okay, go sit down." So I walk over and sit down. When that meeting broke up and I get to the back, guys are just walking up to me and looking at me and just busting out laughing.
Oh my gosh. this is
It's
how I get when I
crazy.
listen. Because I go back and I listen to that, and I just can't let it go. It's just too funny to me. Anyway.
Well, you got 45 guys that there wasn't a peep out of anybody. And he walloped me pretty good. Bill Watts is not a little man.
Oh my goodness.
I guess it was funny. I mean, it's definitely nuts.
Well, looking back on it, I'm sure it was at the time. You had to be the most stunned person in the room going, what in the world just happened?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out the Lars thing as I'm walking towards him. And all of a sudden, it really didn't matter what he was calling me. He just crossed my eyes pretty good.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your answer there. And I always appreciate it, and always keep up with what you're doing. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your support, sir. Thank you very much.
And actually, Trav is still at work. So he asked if I would ask this question on his behalf. So from Trav Arn, he said, did it ever bother you when the ring was cut off, but a guy was tossed into the ropes right next to his tag team partner, and his partner didn't tag himself in by touching his partner on the back as he hit the ropes immediately next to him?
Every time. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
That was pretty clear.
It doesn't make much sense. And that's the thing that we always tried to do. And the Andersons did for sure. But Tully and I, you had 2 sets of ropes and your opponents had 2 sets of ropes. And you always, the rule of thumb, when you would get one of the guys hurt and stopped, you cut the ring off, and you always kept your back to where the guy on the apron was on the other team. So you could always stay between that guy and him tagging his partner. And all the action took place on our 2 sets of ropes. That makes sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
If we're in this corner and the other guy is in this corner, this set of ropes and that set of ropes is where we conducted our business. So we always stayed, and we didn't have that issue. Because a guy gets shot off right to his corner, why don't he just hook the ropes and tag out?
Right. Oh, I'm
That's
going to be
common
watching for
sense.
that now.
Common sense.
Vicar, there you are. Hello, Mike.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Arn?
Hi, Mike. What's up, man?
I'm doing good. So, my question to you is, if you walked into Dynamite today and Tony Khan said, you got a match, you're free, you're clear, you're good to go, who would you like to pick to match with?
How about a 6-man with myself and FTR on one side, Cody, Dustin, and who would that? I'm going to let you pick that third partner. Who would you like to see go there?
Would you do Brock?
Not yet. I don't think he's ready to be and him be on the opposing team.
Right. Yeah. Just maybe some kind of storyline going on, something just.
I don't want to put too much on. I wouldn't want to put too much pressure on him. He's had 4 matches.
What about Darby Allin?
Now there's a guy that nobody's figured out yet. I don't think nobody will figure him out. He would be perfect for that spot because you have no idea what you're going to get till the bell rings with that kid. And I think that's his appeal. He has no regard for his own personal safety, which I respect. I worry about him. I don't want to see him get injured, but man, it's fun to watch when he comes out of there okay and still in one piece. So Darby Allin would be a good choice. Good choice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Great.